Hey, welcome back to Shadow Shorts. If we've never met before, my name is Jeff Echols. I am a senior advisor and the head of marketing at Shadow Partners. And every weekday, I bring to you one short conversation with an expert or a thought leader around the realm of innovation for the built environment. And today is no different. I am joined today by Lucas Manos. He is the IT director of operations for Ryan Companies. He's based up in Minneapolis, and there's a lot of transition going on in his role and in his company, so I thought it would be really, really interesting to talk about emerging technologies. Maybe we get into where those come from, but also how they're applied, and maybe specifically about job sites and the work that Ryan Companies is doing. But we may just stay in the office and have a conversation about emerging tech throughout the organization. We'll see where the conversation goes. But Lucas, thank you for joining me today. I'm glad that you're here.
Thanks for having me, Jeff.
Absolutely. It's really exciting because I know in this world that there's a lot out there. There's a lot of technology out there. There are people that go, "Oh, look at this! This is really cool. We could use this." And then there are people that are holding the purse strings, so to speak, and there are people that are looking at efficiencies and
hmm
ROI and operations. And I know your role kind of spans or has spanned and
Yeah.
continues to span all of that. So, um, in your world when you're thinking about emerging technologies, and maybe this is a conversation about the evolution of it for
hmm
you specifically, but what are you looking for, and then what metrics are you using to sort of measure it? Is this something we can do or something that we can't do?
Yeah, I mean that's a great question. We get asked a lot by a lot of our different teams of have we heard of this new technology? Have we tried this? Are we interested in piloting the different technologies? And what we try, at least at Ryan, to kind of rally behind is what are the needs, the specific needs of our team members? Let's put all
Mhm.
the technology on the shelf. Let's put all of the names of the apps, let's put everything aside and let's work with them of what are their core problems? Like what are the real things that they need tools to accomplish for them or assist them with? Let's start there. Um, and then we kind of like work from that into okay, what is out there in the market that solves those specific needs? We find it so much easier to approach things in that manner rather than uh, introducing yet more tools to our project teams of, oh, have you heard of this? You should use this. This is going to make you better. When in reality, they may not want another tool. And if you talk to the teams long enough, they'll tell you about the tech fatigue that is real on our job sites. That there's so many apps and so many sign-ins and so many different tools to do different things that it's overwhelming. And at some point, we reach the breaking point. I would say we're pretty close to that currently in the industry.
Yeah, that makes total sense to me. But I don't think it matters if you're in the A, the E, or the C portion, or the real estate portion of this whole built environment world. Um, there are an awful lot of people. I mean, let's be honest. It's the deliverables are driving it, right? Whether
hmm
that's the construction docs or the turning the building over, wherever you are in that timeline. And there are an awful lot of people that their main concern is getting to the deadline, getting to this goal. And if I come in, or if you come in and say, "Hey, let's add this layer, let's add that layer," that can be seen, I think, especially in the outset, as an obstacle, maybe as
hmm
friction. So that what you're saying makes total sense to me. So when you're looking at, once you get beyond the needs, then um, what's your process of evaluating and then pulling the trigger and implementing something?
Yeah, I mean, we have a pretty, I would say, refined pilot process of how we like engage with these solutions. It's identified as a need. Our kind of emerging tech pilot process, we really spend a lot of energy focusing on KPIs and ROIs. And I know ROIs get a bad rap in the industry, in the emerging technology space, in the innovation space, because the sentiment is always, well, good luck measuring, a problem
Right.
that you don't have. And I kind of use that as a little bit of a jumping off point and a challenge for innovation teams is that's the job of the innovation team, is to put measurements and framework around why is this important? What are the tangible things that this technology or this solution is doing for teams? And if you can't point to specific numbers and quantifying engagements, or having a goal and tracking against that goal, then I would argue maybe that solution is not the best fit for you or your company, because if you can't quantify or have any sort of tangible result of what it's doing for you.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and you said, I mean, it's a problem that you don't have, but that's where you're starting, right? You're
Hmm.
identifying the problems, you're identifying the needs. So, um, yeah, I think that's a really good lesson learned when we're looking at, and this is one of the things that I do. I teach a per practice class and I run it like an incubator,
Hmm.
and so, class number one, what's a problem that you see? What's a problem that needs to be solved? I think we have to, in all of these cases, we have to start at that point. Otherwise, we're eventually trying to sell something that no one wants or no one thinks they need. So that makes a lot of sense to me. What are some of your as maybe as you look back over the past handful of years, what are some of the your favorite advancements that you've seen and been able to implement?
I mean, there's a lot of them. I would say, in construction, and especially in construction tech, or even all AEC, most new technologies are not as disruptive as they're made out to be.
Mm,
Right? A lot of them are building on a principle or an idea that already exists inside of a process, a workflow, an existing market. It's just a new, modernized practice of it. So, I had a conversation earlier today about integrating data silos to do, automated schedule actualization. Everyone's really excited about it, but when you kind of peel back the layers of it, it's how teams have been building 4D models for years, right? It's a very similar. This is a piece of data, and I want to associate it with a piece of geometry. And now we're looking at, instead of it being a piece of geometry that we're integrating with other data sets and other registries. So I'm really excited to kind of track that evolution within our space and bring more people into these ideas. You can kind of look at any, I would say, emerging tech right now in the AEC space and track its roots back to where it came from. And in that exercise of doing it, you'll also find a lot of the stumbling blocks that have
mhm,
prevented it from gaining the widespread adoption. So as you're working in this new paradigm of this new tool and this new workflow that everyone's excited about, it's important to know why it didn't happen the first time, or the time before it, or the time before that. And if you don't, you kind of get yourself stuck in that loop of, well, yeah, it might be great, but why didn't it work? And you're going to kind of run head first back into that. So we try to keep that in perspective as we deploy solutions of, this is not maybe as new as it's made out to be. Let's look at
yeah.
why it didn't work the first time inside of our organization.
Oh, I think that's a great process. It's super interesting. One of the favorite books that I've read over the last couple of years, I think I read this maybe in 2021, was Where Do Good Ideas Come From? Stephen Johnson, I think, is the author. And he's when you as you started out that last comment, it reminded me of that because he says in the book that most of the things that we see as these big, groundbreaking, earth-changing, whatever innovations are not that at all, right? They're iterations on small iterations on something that's been boiling for a while. Um, so that tracks directly with that, and I love that process of going back and asking that question, why didn't it work? Because again, I think you're right. I think there are a lot of teams that are driving to maybe something different than the actual solution that we're looking for. Maybe it is an ROI or something like that. As you look forward now, so what are we? July, middle of July,
Hmm.
pretty much middle of the year right now. 2023. As you look forward to the end of the year, maybe into 2024, what are you most excited about?
Well, I mean, all kind of different things. specifically like that, as we kind of alluded to, my role specifically transitioning from the shiny new what's out there and emerging to kind of looking internal of how can we make our team members 5, 10 more % efficient, more efficient
Mhm.
in our own processes and the own things we ask people to do. I'm kind of energized looking towards the end of the year of what's the experience like for our team members and our customers and our clients, and can we make it truly unique and special and different, rather than, construction is not a, I would say the whole AEC space is not an industry known for everything always coming together in a seamless manner. I look at, can technology, especially now when we talk about large language models and natural language processing and all these new tools. Yes, they are new, and I know I just said that nothing is technically a new idea. They're new tools, but can we use them in ways, that are meaningful for our people to make the experience better? Help people go home at the end of the day, an hour earlier, rather than needing to come back into the job site trailer to do their mandatory hour of paperwork that they have to do at the end of every day. Thinking about things like that are what I'm kind of really excited about, and where can we plug technology in along the way to assist with that, and not have that be an extra burden that's going to add to their time and add to the paperwork stack that they have to do.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I know that later this week in one of these shadow shorts, we're going to talk about a culture of innovation. And one of the things in talking to this guest that's going to come up, and I would tell you, but I forgot which day this week it is. I have to look at my calendar. But in talking with them about this topic, they kept hitting on the people, the people, the
Hmm.
people. And that's I think that's something that we can lose track of really easily. Oh, we've got the tech, we've got the tech, we've got the tech, the stack. As you said, all of the tasks, all the paperwork, and everything that we have to do. And ultimately, I think you used the word meaningful. Um, if it doesn't work with the people, it's not going to be meaningful. So I love that approach.
Yeah,
Um, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I mean, it can't be underestimated the amount of, any type of change initiative that is the people centric. The
Yeah,
tech is just the underlying catalyst. It is the people that are the real heart of the change, and that's how we try to frame it when we talk about emerging tech at Ryan.
yeah, yeah. I love that. Right. These are tools. We're talking about tools. How are the people going to use the tools, and how are the tools going to make their lives better? I love that approach. If you're watching this right now, either live or in some time shifted manner, and you say, "Hey, I would love to hear more about this," because shadow shorts, we've got 10 to 15 minutes for these conversations. But if this is something that you want to hear more of, you want to know more about, one thing that you can do is consider joining us in Atlanta this October, October 24th through 26th. This will be our seventh annual Shadow Summit. It's our own highly curated, purposefully intimate conference, again in Atlanta, in the Georgia Tech campus this year, October 24th through 26th. We're going to be covering topics just like this emerging tech and bringing emerging tech into operations. This conversation I'm having with Lucas right now. We're going to talk about generative AI. We're going to talk about housing. We're going to talk about all kinds of things. KP Reddy, the CEO of Shadow Partners, has described Shadow Summit 2023 as a Cliff Notes version of what's happened in innovation for the built environment in 2023, and then a preview of what you need to pay attention to, what you need to know about, what you need to budget for in terms of innovation for 2024. And these types of conversations, the people, the emerging tech, those are the things you need to be paying attention to. So consider doing that. Consider joining us. If you want to know more about what's going on in Lucas's world, go to ryancompanies.com. URL is in the bottom left of your screen right now, ryancompanies.com. I know their marketing team produces a great blog where you can learn more. You can connect with Lucas on LinkedIn. There's lots of ways to learn more about what he's got going on and what Ryan Companies as a whole has going on. And then for more information on Shadow Summit, go to shadowsummit.com. It's like I said, it's a highly curated event. That means topics as well as attendees. And so there's an application process. The button is at the top of the screen at shadowsummit.com. Click that button, apply for a ticket, and hopefully we'll see you later this year in Atlanta in October. It'll be a good time to be in Atlanta. October, end of October is a pretty nice time down there. So shadowsummit.com is where you need to go for that. Lucas, this is another one of those conversations. I would love to have this for an hour or so, but it's shadow short. So thanks so much for sharing what you were able to. And I'm fascinated by that intersection of emerging tech and, hey, how do we get this into operations? And I appreciate you sharing, giving us a little bit of insights into that world.
Thanks for having me, Jeff. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad you're here. And join us again tomorrow for another Shadow Shorts. Again, I'll bring you another expert, another thought leader in the realm of innovation for the built environment. And we will keep pushing the conversation about innovation in the AEC and real estate world forward as much as we can, a little bit at a time, every day. Thanks for joining us. See you tomorrow.